Hey there, aspiring achievers. Whether you're dating or in a committed relationship, whether you're living together or married, your well-developed executive function skills make a difference in many aspects of your relationship life. And even though I focus on helping you develop your executive function skills for yourself, that doesn't mean that their development isn't essential for a healthier and happier marriage. Let me explain. When we enter a relationship, we bring whoever we are and whatever is part of us with us. If there's depression or anxiety or ADHD or an addiction or trauma or other issues, they come with us. We are each an entity unto ourselves, and a third entity is created when we come together, which is the relationship or the marriage. In order to maximize the opportunity for the best of ourselves to be what creates the relationship, we need well-developed executive function skills.
Welcome to the Living Beyond ADHD podcast. If you're looking for a fresh perspective and actionable steps on hot topics from focus to follow-through to self-management and more, you are in the right place. Welcome your host, innovative educator, coach, and psychotherapist, Dr. B.
Let's explore a typical relationship. Each person has limiting beliefs about themselves that they have been indoctrinated with or come to believe. These aren't facts, yet they may be treated as if they're facts. A statement like, "This is just how I am," or "I don't feel comfortable dancing or doing many of the things that you enjoy," are not uncommon. These statements could also be part of an outdated identity or a sense of self and become even more limiting. These beliefs could be based on always knowing themselves to be as they are, and hence it's a fact of life. Same is true for their identity. My question to them or you would be, is everyone with your background and life history like you? Or does everyone feel uncomfortable dancing or doing things that their partner enjoys? And the answers are going to be no. It's no because we are all the meaning makers in our lives, and what you believe is scary or uncomfortable may not be scary or uncomfortable to your partner. And just because it was uncomfortable or not enjoyable at some time in the past doesn't mean that it'll be that way the next time. There could have been specific aspects of the past experiences that contributed to it feeling uncomfortable. And if you're aware of what those were and you change this next experience so that those aspects don't exist, the experience could very well be quite enjoyable for both you and your partner. How many of you can relate to the damage that limiting beliefs and outdated identities can cause or have caused to your marriage? Next, let's look at the importance of 3 executive function pre-skills and how their underdevelopment can and does add a lot of stress to an otherwise loving relationship. What happens when poorly managing yourself in time or with time has your partner feeling that you're disrespecting them by being late all the time? Or because you put so many things off, you get overwhelmed and leave your partner feeling that they're married to a child who just can't do the simplest of things when asked? Or the sheer thought of having to make the number of decisions you're faced with daily, and that others are counting on you to make good decisions, and not being able to decide is enough to freeze you in your tracks. Who teaches us these things or helps us to develop the executive function pre-skills that are a necessary part of adult lives? Who teaches us about buffers in our schedules or transition time, or even how to figure out how long things will take to do? I don't know about you, but I most certainly didn't get taught these executive function pre-skills, so the absence of them caused problems financially, emotionally, mentally, and contributed to rumination and overwhelming thoughts and feelings. I know how all of these poorly developed pre-skills impacted my life years ago, and would still do so if I hadn't developed my executive function pre-skills. I love creating games to understand and develop these skills for myself, as well as for my students. Play is one of the best strategies for learning and developing whatever skills that we want to integrate into our lives. Developing empowering beliefs and fun and empowering identities are part of our first month together in the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills Program, and what a difference they make, as do the other skills. So let's imagine for a moment what your life is like without a clear and accurate perspective. Everything in your life is filtered through your distorted perspective and impacts every thought, feeling, and action you have or take. And if you aren't able to inhibit your thoughts, feelings, or actions, and everything's on autopilot, your life's being run by the most primitive part of your brain, which is reactive, and you aren't able to take advantage of your prefrontal cortex, which is the newest part of your brain and uses many of the executive function skills once it thinks clearly, so it can respond instead of react. If you're a rapid shifter, because your reactive brain is running your life instead of an appropriate shifter, because your life's being guided by your executive function skills, you aren't leaving a trail of unfinished things in your wake, kind of like a kid who doesn't clean up after themselves. And what if the meaning that your spouse or partner puts to your trail of unfinished tasks? Most likely that you're a massive procrastinator rather than you aren't finishing things because you're missing information to do so and are starting new things in the hopes that you'll start something that you can actually finish because you know how to do so. There's a lot of talk about emotional control and emotional regulation in the press. Are you finding it easy to tame your emotions and bring them under your control? Probably not. When you have a conversation with your spouse or your partner, are you quick to flare or get triggered by something they say to you? Do you wish you could regulate or control yourself so this doesn't happen? Well, you can. It's not about controlling your emotions, though. It goes deeper than that. You need to be in charge of what's generating those emotions, not the emotions themselves. It's connected to your thinking, and you can develop emotional control so that you can live your life free of triggers and emotional traps. Self-monitoring is a wonderful relationship skill that can help you to see more than other people and not think that they are the cause of the challenges you experience. From the perceptual perspective of self, we can only see others, not ourselves. So how can we expect ourselves to see what we're doing and how we need to improve if we can't see what we're doing? That's no longer a problem when you develop your ability to see yourself clearly. The underdevelopment of your executive function skills impacts more than just you, as I trust you're starting to understand even more deeply now. If you've never had your executive function skills assessed, this leads me to ask if you've gotten your free PDF, 13 Signs Weak Executive Functioning is Holding You Back. If not, you can grab your copy from my website. Link is in the show notes. And just because you learn about the strengths or weaknesses of your executive function skills, that doesn't mean that you have to do anything further. Awareness can be enough for now. Or If you decide that you want to do something about your underdeveloped executive function skills, get yourself on the information list about the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills program. We've already started sending out emails inviting you to book a free strategy call with one of my team members. All of them are prior Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills program students to learn more about the program. They'll answer your questions and determine if it's a good fit for you, given your current needs. So be sure to get on that information list if helping yourself is of interest to you. You know, I love creating safe spaces free of judgment for groups of people to learn and grow together. I keep these spaces separate from social media sites so we have the privacy to do the deeper work of transformation. You are a precious child of the universe, and you are called a human being, not a human doing, for good reason. You don't have to earn your value. You were born with it. Your value comes from who you're being, not what you're doing, which means that you can wake up every day with your value 100%. And that's pretty awesome. It's a great win. And if you need a space to feel the importance of that fact, consider working with me in some capacity if it's your time. Speaking of wins, what's it going to be for you today? You've been taking one small step with improving your communication. That's great. You organized one section of your closet. That's awesome. You're practicing forgiving yourself and offering yourself some grace every day. That's fantastic. Each and every one of these wins deserves your wholehearted celebrating. Yes, wow, awesome. I know that you all have daily wins, and I'm hopeful that you're going to be celebrating all of them, every one of them, big and small, because the small ones happen every day when the big ones are happening less frequently. So celebrate. How much time do we have? Not much. So let's get to it.
This podcast is sponsored by Pure Potential with Dr. B. You can head over to drbarbaracohen.com and find the podcast episodes and transcripts. Great free content, plus information on programs and products, including the groundbreaking online Adventures in Achievement Foundational Skills Training and Coaching Program. You can also learn about Dr. B's masterclasses on decision-making, time management, and banishing procrastination. That's drbarbaracohen.com.
Let's continue with more about underdeveloped executive function skills and how they can be harming your marriage or other close relationships. Initiating is part of our everyday life. And if it was as easy as just do it, like the Nike commercial tells us, we would. Did anyone teach you about the prep work that you need to do before you can start a task or a project? If you or your spouse just expects that you'll start without preparation to start, life just doesn't work that way. If you're struggling to integrate all the information that's coming at you every day, plus have space in your mind left over to think about things that you want to think about and integrate into your life, then you want to make sure that your working memory is working for you instead of against you. If you don't, you could be signing up for a lifetime of overwhelm. You know, I've noticed that many of my students have very underdeveloped working memory, and further research has shown me that it can often be tied to traumatic events in our growing up years, not just the more severe traumatic experiences that people have, but the sudden, unexpected, and isolating experiences that so many of us experience that seem to derail the development of our working memory. Whether it's the shame, guilt, or traumatic experience itself that derails our development, I'm seeing more and more assessment results of underdeveloped working memory and the long-term impact of not being able to integrate what we learn or to work with it to get better at what we do and who we are, it's not a future that I wish on anyone. And what about your lived values and those that you aspire to live, but you don't? Are they similar to those of your spouse or partner? Do you end up in conflict because your values aren't in alignment? One of the groups of executive function skills that we need well developed is our ability to prioritize, plan, and organize our thoughts. Not being able to perform effectively in these areas definitely impacts our relationships and our marriages. There's so much that happens weekly, if not daily, with regard to these skills, that not being able to hold up your part in these relationship-related activities is going to impact you badly. Another important skill that'll keep your marriage in good shape is your ability to monitor your tasks effectively and course correct on things that are not going well so that those tasks don't crash and burn. This is a very important skill in the workplace as well as in your home. Not only do you need to know what you need to monitor, but what to do when things are not going right for the task and what those indicators are so you know it's time to take action, right action. No point in blaming each other for things that aren't going well. Better to figure out what's causing the derailing and what needs to be done, and when to get things back on track for your marriage. Organizing your thoughts is different than organizing your stuff. A lot of people have issues with clutter, both mentally and physically. It could be just one person in the marriage, or it could be both of you. Instead of arguing about the disorganization in either situation, better to discuss it and determine where the challenges are coming from so the essential skills can be developed and put an end to the dysregulation in your marriage. And if you haven't ever been taught or learned how to maintain anything, then this becomes a critically important skill because marriages need maintenance. And if they aren't maintained on a regular basis, they're going to weaken or fall apart. So paying attention to all the things that you've been doing in the beginning to create a wonderful relationship or marriage, but then not maintaining it and expecting it to just carry on without maintenance, that's a recipe for failure. There are so many factors that go into the creation and maintenance of a happy and healthy marriage. Having ADHD or underdeveloped executive function skills in and of themselves don't doom a marriage, but the denial of what these conditions bring to the marriage when they're not attended to can seriously damage a marriage. To be in denial of this fact and not take responsibility for the dysfunction that's been brought into the relationship is not going to keep a marriage strong and healthy. It could only be one of the two of you in denial, or it could be both of you in denial. When neither of you is willing to own or take responsibility for your contribution to the dysfunction, and you blame your partner or spouse instead, this won't repair the damage. Living in denial blocks one or both of you from making personal progress, and the relationship just doesn't improve. In fact, it may change for the worse. If you want to utilize foresight and get ahead of a possible disastrous outcome, then I highly recommend that you develop your executive function skills so that you can navigate your marriage for the highest good of both of you and eliminate the possible sabotage from weak skills. Another aspect of communication in marriage is how each of you learns or takes in information. Some people are very literal and take information at face value. Others are more inferential and add meaning to something said or read that isn't literally there, but feels like it is to them. This can present huge challenges in communication between partners and lead to a lot of misunderstandings unless this element is understood and factored in when listening and speaking to one another. I have included everything I've discussed in this episode in the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills Program, because if one or both people don't have the skills that I'm talking about, what kind of disaster is their marriage going to become? And is it anybody's fault? No, there's no one to blame here. What would be the point of blaming or pointing fingers? That's ridiculous. However, as I said in my very first podcast episode years ago, it's not your fault, and yet you are 100% responsible. If you want to have a marriage and a loving relationship that is not dysfunctional and endures time and the ups and downs of life, then you're going to want the executive function skills to be able to navigate with. Listening to the feedback from some of my students on how the skills are impacting their relationships, they share that they're able to have better conversations and they're able to discuss and make better decisions together. They're able to do things better, even if only one person came into the program who's in the marriage. It only takes one person in a system to change the system, and marriage is a system. What I hope you're getting from this episode is how critically important and interwoven into day-to-day life executive function skills are. I wanted to add a few additional thoughts about the Kaizen way, which I talked about in episode 113. Here's some relevant life work for you to reflect on and engage with, remembering that you're able to take one small step every day with consistency, and that over time, those small steps will transform your life at a pace that's just right for you. To keep your fight-flight response turned off, keep it simple and small. Repetition is essential, so keep things doable. Ask yourself small questions such as, what's one small change I can make today? Or, will I make a small change daily to have a bigger impact overall? Think small thoughts such as, I am enough for today, or I can take care of myself today. Take small actions such as get up from your desk every hour or two and move your body a little. Stretch your body while you're in bed for 5 minutes before you get up. Solve small problems such as how to make it easier to drink enough water every day, or how to consistently take out the trash before it smells. Bestow small rewards on yourself to support internal motivation, such as buy yourself some flowers to brighten your day, or set a nice place at your table for you to eat your meals. Identify small moments, such as be fully present when you're speaking and acknowledge yourself, or be aware when you reframe a meaning for something healthier. All of these small steps may seem like a lot to add to your already full life, yet the dividends paid are so worth it. Small, consistent steps make change possible and resistance obsolete. Are you willing to take small steps every day for the changes you want to see in yourself and your life? I hope so, because the decision you make will change the course of your life. If you believed with absolute certainty that you could develop the executive function skills that you're missing so you could achieve your goals, would you take action on creating that life for yourself? Moving from point A to point B isn't so difficult when you have a structured path to follow and the support to help you to overcome the obstacles or resistance that you might encounter. You will find that support and that structured path in the Adventures in Achievement program. Things can be figured out when you don't run and you ask for help. If you want an intentional life, you need to be intentional about what you bring into your life. Be 100% responsible for the life you create for yourself. Even if you have challenges in your life, there are solutions, and you can increase the quality of your life tremendously, especially if you develop your executive function skills. If you resonate with what I share and my approach, and you'd like to benefit from more than just my podcast show, I've created options for you. There is the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills Program, which is a high-touch, comprehensive program for the development of your executive function pre-skills and executive function core skills that'll change your life. It's 7 months of working with me, one-to-one, in a group format that'll bring you more than I ever could outside of this structure. Being together in this group energy and unpacking everything that I recommend you examine and possibly develop to have the life you say you want is powerful transformation. What got us to the places we're at now won't get us further. To move beyond today's space, we need to be different so we can do different and have different than we have. This is a comprehensive experience for those of you committed to deeply transforming your life. It's opening up right now for the February 2023 group. And if you're on the information list, you'll be the first notified when doors open, as well as be invited to book a strategy call with one of our previous Adventures in Achievement students. If you have questions about whether or not this program is right for you. We have students from all over the world enrolling in the program, so location is not an obstacle. Get on the information list to learn more about the program and to be the first notified for special opportunities. Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills Program is the fastest and most comprehensive path to develop yourself and your skills while eliminating the obstacles that used to stop you or keep you from completing something this important to you. If high touch in 7 months isn't for you at this time, then let's work together in the Transformation Club for less than $1 a day. If you want help running your life and changing your outcomes that is less interactive than the Adventures in Achievement program, this is a great option for us to work together. Whether you're in the U.S. or abroad, when you become a member of TTC, you're gaining more than just information. You're becoming part of a community of like-minded adults who are in TTC to transform their lives. You probably already know that you need to develop your executive function skills, and the fastest, most cost-effective way is with TTC. It's a gentle path of growth where you aren't rushed and can take your time each month to learn a new skill, practice what you learn, and share in a safe peer-to-peer community forum. It includes monthly training, a monthly Q&A, and a monthly private Ask Dr. B podcast episode based on questions asked by TTC members. This may be perfect for you if the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills Program isn't at this time. Check the show notes to learn more. It would have been wonderful if we had been given this opportunity when we were kids, but that just didn't happen for most. We're being given this opportunity now as adults, and it's our choice to close the gap now or not. Our quality of life depends on what we decide. It hangs in the balance. I hear from many of you and will tell you the same thing. If you want what I have, then develop what you need to have for your version of it. There is a peacefulness that I experience by being able to show up and be me. Since there was no comprehensive program available when I needed to develop my executive function skills, I had to piece it together from various sources instead of going to one place for all of it. How much easier that would have been, but then it wouldn't be my journey. And who knows if I would have been called to develop a truly effective specialized training and coaching program where you not only get the what, but you also get the how as well. And the how is usually unique to each person, which is why there's so much coaching available to guide your transformation in the Adventures program. You can do something about developing those skills so you can function more productively at work and create more balance in your personal life and your marriage. The choice is yours. Are you seriously committed to putting an end to your needless suffering and developing your missing skills so that the quality of your marriage and individual life is what you want? You know, the years are going to pass no matter what you decide. It's really a choice of what you're going to put into those years rather than them just being passing years filled with frustration and regrets. There are two important currencies in life, time and money. I've learned over the course of my lifetime that time is our most precious currency and asset. It is not something we can ever get back. Each day is spent, and another day comes for most of us, but we can't ever get the days back that were spent poorly or in struggles. We can never get back those experiences or opportunities that we've missed because they're gone. They might surface again, or they might not. This is a huge price to pay for indecision or hesitation or a wrong decision. Our other currency, money, it comes and goes. We can get more of it. Not true with time. Please get yourself on the information list if you've been struggling long enough. And be sure to book a strategy call with one of our team members to get your questions answered about the Adventures and Achievement program and to determine together if the program is a good fit for you and your current challenges and needs. I say this because I live a life of service, and if it's a good fit for you, I want to be of service to you and help you to transform your life into something beyond which you can imagine. You came to this lifetime with an empowering gift, perhaps many of them, and I would love it if each and every person on this planet were able to express his or her unique, empowering gifts freely, without the threat of being shamed or criticized. Let's put an end together to that stigma once and for all and live as empowered achievers. A favorite quote of mine. Claudia Black said, "Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do." I would add to this quote that we must integrate and embody the application of that which we come to know from experiencing it and allowing it to change us and become a part of who we become. When you take these steps and improve a little every day, eventually big things occur. Think about it. If you're willing to invest just 15 minutes a day, every single day, and let that be enough, over the course of 1 year, that's 91 hours of invested time. What could you achieve with 91 hours of focused and attention? Whenever a student overcommits on their goals, they derail and they get frustrated that they didn't keep their word to themselves. However, when they commit to just the 15 minutes a day every day, or even 30 minutes a day if they have it, their achievements are massive. This works because we're flying under the radar of triggering resistance or fight-flight responses. Small amounts of time or action steps are the recipe for your success. If you're loving the podcast, here's how you can get even more support. Check out the links in the show notes for transformative opportunities that are just waiting for you. And if you found value in this episode, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. Our mission is to help as many people as possible transform their lives. And when you leave a positive review, more people can find this podcast. So just click where it says review, ratings and reviews, and write a review and tell me what your favorite part of the podcast is. Thank you so much. And if you're ready to stop your needless suffering, I look forward to welcoming you into the Adventures in Achievement Foundation Skills program or seeing you inside the Transformation Club. Be sure to check out these opportunities in the show notes. Personal transformation is not exclusive to me. It's happening for my students every day. There are real solutions to the challenges that you are experiencing, and they're available now. Time is our most precious asset, and none of us have time to waste on solutions that just don't work. I would love to help you to realize a new freedom. That is, if that's of interest to you. Thanks for listening. Until the next time, bye for now.
Thanks so much for listening today. If you're eager to make positive changes in your life and stop overwhelm and confusion from derailing you, head over to drbarbaracohen.com and see how Dr. B can help you today. Whether you love learning in an online group environment with personalized coaching or prefer the pace of guided self-study, Dr. B offers the skills, strategies, and individual support you need. Get started on your journey today by visiting the website at drbarbaracohen.com.